as they're playing on their consoles. The power in the entire city goes out. And so they have to find a way to entertain themselves with no power, no phones, no video games, nothing. And so they learn to do shadow puppets together, play board games with the flashlight, come out into the community and play in the streets with the rest of the people. And it's just a very fun book to learn about some different things that you could do, whether you're pretending to have a blackout and turn all the lights off in your house, or if you do have one in reality. It can be a great little tool to help you find some fun things to do together as a family. And then our second thing that we have, based around games as well, is we have little activity bags that have Legend of Zelda themed activities to do in them, like recipes that you can cook from the games. You can make your own little potion bottle, different things like that. And we will also have a digital escape room that you guys can access at home and kind of use your puzzling skills to see if you can figure out how to get through it. So those are some of the things that we are offering all the rest of this month. Come on in to pick up those bags at the information desk on the first floor. And I will leave it now to the rest of the youth services staff to talk about some of their favorite books as well. Thank you so much.
Hello. I'm just going to need a few minutes to set up. Okay, I am going to share 4 wonderful board books. The first board book is called Haircut for Lion. It's by Michael Dahl. The bright, cheerful pictures and simple concepts make this book a winner. Little Lion needs a haircut. Follow along as he and his dad go to the barber shop in this board book from the Hello Genius series. For those unfamiliar with this series, there are 27 titles that help guide a child's first steps in learning and growing. Other titles include Penguin Says Please, Little Dinos Don't Hit, and Little Tiger Picks Up. My second book is Diggersaurs by Michael Waite. This book combines 2 common interests for kids, dinosaurs and construction vehicles, and then transforms them into dinosaur trucks. A crew of 12 Diggersaurs rumble, crunch, and stack their way through a busy day at a construction site. Young dinosaur fans will love the inventive names like Scoopersaurus, Dumpersaurus, and Rollersaurus as they count each Jurassic giant. My next book is called Nature, Early Learning at the Museum by Noisy Crow. Now, Noisy Crow isn't the name of an author. It's an imprint of Candlewick Press. This board book encourages children to engage with early learning concepts by increasing their vocabulary. In partnership with the British Museum, this book has beautiful photographs of paintings and other works of art from the British Museum's extensive collection. Children will learn basic words for objects in nature while being introduced to interesting artwork. Look for more books in this creative series. My last book is The Magic Kingdom of Unicorns, a look and find book by Eva Galinas. For your unicorn lover, kids can have fun searching for objects in these vibrant scenes with colorful illustrations of animals and objects. Find familiar objects and learn the words for new ones. Each page also has an additional seek and find where kids can practice their seeking and counting skills. Thank you. I hope you enjoy these books.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Emily, and I'm here to recommend a couple of picture books for you that I think you're really going to enjoy. If your kids are interested in nature or animals or science, they're really going to love these two picture books that I have. So, like I said, I have two picture books. They're both from a series called A First Science Storybook Series. The first one that I'm going to talk about is called Bird Builds a Nest. It's by Martin Jenkins and illustrated by Richard Jones. So this story is about a bird. We follow Bird along on her journey as she pulls worms out of the ground. She picks up twigs from the ground, pushes and pulls the twigs to build a nest. So we follow her along with her on that journey to do that. But it's a really, one thing I really love about this book is it's a great introduction to some basic science concepts using the basis of this nice story. It has really simple, clear language, and it introduces a lot of basic concepts like basic physics and force. So we are looking at pushing and pulling, lifting, weights, like light and heavy weights. And it's lovely. So Richard Jones is the illustrator. All of the colors in the book are really subdued and calm. Lots of good textures, sort of collage style. So it's also just a delight to look at. I'll show you a couple of the pages here. So it starts off, it's a beautiful day. Bird is up early. She's got a lot to do. First, she needs some breakfast. What she wants is a nice, juicy worm. So we go along with her as she goes throughout her day. And then at the end, you get to find out what happens after she builds her nest, so that's sort of exciting. But one thing I really want to highlight about this book is in the very back of the book, after you finish your story, it has this page here. It says thinking about. So it has a series of questions that you can pose after you finish the story. Things like, I'll read an example. It says, when you try to move something toward you, it's called pulling. Can you find some places in the book where Bird pulls something? So it's a good opportunity to go back in the book. You can ask that question and see where you can find places where the bird pulls or pushes, and sort of reiterate those basic science concepts in a sort of a gentle tone. These books, all of the books in this series have this sort of question page, and they also have an index in the back, which is really helpful, that highlights all of the science concepts that it introduces in the book with the page numbers that you can find them on. So the book ends up being a really nice supplement. If you were to do some sort of science activity, you could use the book as a supplement and refer back to those pages in the book that talk about those concepts. So that's Bird Builds a Nest. And then the second book that we have in our library in the series is The Squirrel's Busy Year, also by Martin Jenkins, illustrated by Richard Jones again. Same very sort of calming, subdued color palette in the illustrations, really textural and pretty. So this story is about two squirrels, and we follow them along as they go throughout the year. It introduces basic concepts related to seasons and weather. So we're going to follow them throughout the year. They're going to enter winter when it's cold, and they're going to bundle up in their den. They'll face They'll face storms and lightning, so we can talk about those sorts of things. But it's a really lovely story all on its own, and then also really nice way to integrate some science into the story itself. So it also has this back page with the questions in the back that you can refer back to the story, and an index page as well. So those are my two picture books to recommend to you today. They are part of this first science storybook series. There's several books in this series. We have these two at our library right now. You could check it out today, or feel free to use our Links Library app to put it on hold. And we are ordering some of the other books in this series soon, so they should be available for you shortly.
Good morning, my name is Asia, and these are my recommendations for early readers. So I have this series of books here. It's called the Mo Jackson series. It's written by David A. Adler, and it's illustrated by Sam Ricks. If you notice, it's about each of these books is about a different sport. So we have football, basketball, baseball, and soccer. There's also a fifth book in this series that came out a little earlier this month called Run, Mo, Run, and so that's something that we'll be getting soon. The first book in this series, Don't Throw at Mo, is a Theodore Seuss Gisela Award winner. We're going to open it up and read just the first few pages. Mo Jackson loves football. When it's time to wake up, his mother calls out, "It's a long throw." Mo wakes up. His mother tosses a football. Mo jumps out of bed to catch it. "Now that you're up," his mother says, "get ready for school." Mo is on the Robins, a football team. They practice after school. Mo is smaller than the other players. He's younger. Anyway, that's just the first few pages in this book. So if you have any sports lovers at home that are just beginning to learn how to read, I recommend placing this series on hold. You can do that by going to our website and using the catalog to place your holds, or by downloading our app, Links Libraries, and using your library card and your PIN number to log in, and then you can place them on hold.
Good morning. My name is Marcia, and I work here at the Nampa Library. I want to thank you, first of all, for sharing part of your day with us. It means a great deal. I am going to introduce to you one of our series that we have in our Youth Services Department for beginning readers. This is a series, and a series is a list of books. They follow one another. The characters are the same. And you'll find that in this series, there are actually 8 books. So once you begin with number 1, you can move into 2 and on until you have finished your final book in the series. And this is by Asia Citro and illustrated by Marion Lindsay. That means 2 people were involved in the creation of this book for you to enjoy. This series is called Zoe and Sassafras. This particular one, the first one, is titled Dragons and Marshmallows. So what we're going to find out with a series is that in each one there are characters that are the same, but at the same time we're learning about other new characters that become a part of it. Now, a hard thing about a series is which one should I pick? You come in and the library is full of wonderful books, and what you need to do is exercise the 5-finger rule. Open it up anywhere, and if there's one word that you do not know, that book's probably too easy for you. If you find another one, might still be a little too easy for you, and maybe you're ready for a little bit more meat in that story that you're wanting to read. Finally, if you find 3 that's just right, that means you're going to challenge yourself, but you're still going to have a great time reading. If you find 4, might be a little too hard. 5, close the book up and save it for later. So let's read along, and you'll see some of the things that happened in this series. Something else. I'm going to read to you, but I'm also probably going to make you, I'm going to tease you is what it amounts to. So, this starts out with chapter 1, Bug Circus. What is this, Sassafras? And he goes, he gently tipped the rock over, and underneath, hiding, was a treasure of 1,000,000 roly-polies. Now, this is her thinking goggles. She doesn't use them except to think. So she's trying to figure out what can she do with these roly-polies, because she likes to create sometimes circuses. Now the problem is that her cat, Sassafras, likes to eat them. So she's trying to keep the cat from eating her circus people and still come up with tricks for them to do. So what she does is she takes 2 twigs, puts them out like this, and then the roly-polies walk along and then across to the other side. And they also perform other tricks like climbing over rocks, around rocks. She has them doing all sorts of tricks. However, Mom has had a similar interest. She's a scientist. And in this chapter, her mother tells her about Pip. Pip is a purple frog that glows purple and has orange dots. And Pip smiles. So the mother is telling her daughter about her experience with insects and bugs, and sometimes magical or mystical creatures. In this book, she goes into the barn, and there in the barn is a light blue-colored dragon, a baby dragon. So, of course, Zoe wants to take care of the dragon, but she has to figure out what is it that a dragon will do. So in this book, you're going to learn how to be a scientist. You will have a question, and Zoe's question is, what do baby dragons like to eat? Another word for this is also a hypothesis, but you can begin with the word question. So, here are the variables. That means these are the things that maybe the dragon might enjoy eating. So there's that journaled, and then she makes sure that she gets all those ready. And she also finds that she thinks the dragon will eat worms. So that's what she's going to use in her experiment. And she also comments, sorry, worms. Zoe puts out a handful of all the items, and we quickly find out what the dragon likes and doesn't like, and then we quickly find out that they love marshmallows. So now Zoe knows exactly what to do in order to help out her baby dragon. In this book, you're also going to find out not only about scientific journaling and how you can be a scientist at home, but you're also going to be introduced to new words like, what is the difference between a carnivore and an omnivore? I'm not going to tell you. And what's the difference between a hot and cold-blooded animal? Well, if you want to find out, you will have to place a hold, and you can do that by calling us. We can help you. We also have our Links app. You can go online from home and place the hold, and then it will be waiting just for you. Or come on into the library. Perhaps you'll find that it's right there waiting for you on the shelf. Keep in mind that there are 8 of these available for you, and each one will introduce you to a new life form and how they are taken care of and challenge you with new learning. Have a wonderful day, and thank you again for coming.
Hi there. I'll be with you in just a moment. Sorry. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us today for this Idaho Family Read Week adventure with Booktalks. And my name is Miss Tracy, and I just want you guys to know that I have missed doing story time and art programs with you, and I just wish you all the best. I hope you are all happy and healthy, and that you are able to check out a lot of these books. So if you're looking for action-packed adventures full of surprises, this is the series for you. The Ascendants Trilogy by Jennifer Nielsen is one of my favorite book series of all time. It begins with The False Prince, continues with The Runaway King, and supposedly ends with The Shadow Throne. The story revolves around an orphan who is forced into a twisted game with deadly stakes. Choose to lie or choose to die. The orphan sage will win your heart with his sarcasm and wit, courage and honor. As trouble brews in the kingdom of Carthia, Connor, a nobleman of the court, comes up with a devious plan to find someone to impersonate the long-lost prince of Carthia, so he can become the ruler behind a puppet king. He scours orphanages looking for orphans who resemble the prince, and he finds 4 candidates. The orphans are put to the test and are sometimes challenged to the brink of death. Sage is a defiant boy and knows Connor's motives are sketchy, to say the least. Yet his life is on the line. He must try to win Connor's twisted game to become the false prince or be killed. The other orphan boys are also in it to win, of course. So you can imagine what a dangerous game this is. As Sage and the other boys move from orphanages to Connor's extravagant palace, layer upon layer of treachery and deceit unfold until finally a truth is revealed that in the end may prove to be more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. Scholastic Book describes The False Prince as an extraordinary adventure filled with danger and action, lies and deadly truths that will have readers clinging to the edge of their seats, and the pace does not slow down in the next 2 books. I listened to the audiobook of this series, narrated by Charlie McWade. He did an outstanding job. He's one of my favorite audiobook authors now, narrators. I had a hard time pressing the pause button, wondering what was going to happen next. You probably know how it feels to come to the end of a series you love. You grow attached to the characters and their adventures, and before you're ready to say goodbye, you come to the last page, and it's over. Just think about that for a minute. I bet you felt that way. Imagine how thrilled I was to discover that after 6 years, the adventure continues in The Captive Kingdom, published last month by Scholastic Press. Thank you so much, Jennifer Nielsen. You saved my life. This is not the actual book. This is a picture. But our book is being ordered and on the way, and it is currently available in the Links Consortium, so you can put it on hold. But I already have it on hold, so you'll have to wait till after I read it. I highly recommend that you begin with The False Prince. I'd also like to mention that The False Prince is a New York Times notable children's book, a Publishers Weekly Best Book of the Year, and a Chicago Public Library Best of the Best Children's Book, among other distinctions. According to Scholastic Books, this series is geared towards ages 10 to 14, but I believe its appeal goes well beyond this age group. I'm a little bit older than that. I'll end with praise for The Runaway King, which I think applies to all the books in this series. High adventure abounds with nail-biting drama. This is from Kirkus Reviews. A fast-paced and thrilling read with twists and turns that never let up. That's from the School Library Journal. I hope you enjoy this wonderful series as much as I did. And don't forget to check out other books written by the amazing Jennifer Nielsen. Happy reading!
All right, I am back, and we are going to move from talking about some of our grade school reads into our teen reads. And I'm going to start us off by speaking about a graphic novel series, actually. Very short, just 7 books long. It is called A Silent Voice. And this became one of my favorite series just a couple of years ago when I first read it. It is about they start out as young grade school students. One of them is a bit of a ruffian. He's a little bit of a bully, but he just kind of gets into too many scraps. And the other is a transfer student, this girl who comes in and she announces to her class that she is deaf. The boy does not understand her circumstances, and because he doesn't understand, he begins to bully her. And it goes through their story of how he ruins her year at that school, and then in turn, he himself ruins his own life by the choices that he makes. And the following books take them into their teenagehood, where they begin to try to make amends and build a relationship together. He actually comes to apologize to her and show that he has learned sign language in order to communicate. I think it's a very beautiful book about relationships and the way that we treat both people who have different learning abilities and also people who we consider to be bullies, that they also have a story to tell and that they also have circumstances in their own life that change the way that they perceive people. This book is by Yoshitoki Oima. We have the full series here available for checkout. Currently, only book 1 is on the shelf right now, so you can start it off, but it looks like somebody else has snatched up the rest. But it is just, I thought it was a phenomenal story, and it has great characters, and you learn a lot, I think, about how we interact with others who we consider different from ourselves or who we may not even like or we think that are mean, that there is room for us to love people. So I would definitely recommend it. It is geared more towards teen, but 13 plus is what they recommend on the back. So you could pick it up and check it out for yourself, see if it's something that you're interested in. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello, I'm back. this time with a teen book. The book I'm sharing is called House of Salt and Sorrows. It is by Erin Craig, a first-time author. This book is loosely based on the Brothers Grimm story, The Worn-Out Dancing Shoes, better known as The 12 Dancing Princesses. It combines romance with Gothic fairy tales as a magical realm is brought to life. It begins with teenage Annalie and her 7 sisters living in their seaside home of Highmore with her father and young stepmother on an island set apart from the outside world. This world is governed by a strange ocean mythology. There are rumors of a curse on the family. Sadly, in years prior, Annalie's mother and 4 older sisters all died under mysterious and sometimes violent circumstances. Once there were 12 sisters, now there are only 8. Annalie suspects murder, but she is unable to convince her family otherwise. Desperate for some degree of happiness and an escape from their island community, the surviving girls find a hidden passageway in a shrine to a local god, and each night they secretly visit because the path leads to a dazzling ball filled with pomp and pageantry. Donning satin gowns, the sisters dance their shoes into tatters as they flirt and dance their grief away every evening and return home undiscovered in the early morning hours. Plagued by terrifying dreams and visions, eventually Annalie decides to forego the glamorous parties to try and unravel the mystery surrounding her family's ongoing tragedies. Can she uncover her family's dark secrets? Can she do it before she or her remaining sisters also meet a tragic end? Read this book and find out. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Marcus and I work in adult services, and now we're going to cover some good books and some media entertainment that you could take advantage of during this family read week, maybe after you're done reading to the kids or reading with the kids, maybe when it's time to go to bed and just decompress for the evening. Here's some selections that we're going to have that will kind of whet your appetite. The first selection we're going to use here that I'm going to introduce is a book called Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. It was written in 1957. The setting of the book takes place sometime in the near future, and it's been couched in controversy as much of the philosophy that she includes in the book effectively is contrary to much of the philosophy that is mainstream in Western society. We go over and follow a young woman who's a vice president of a railroad company named Dagny Taggart. Now, just to give you a little backstory, the world is experiencing unprecedented economic depression, and energy prices have become so high that train travel is the main mode of transporting goods and people left in the United States. She is the vice president of the company that she inherited. She shares the company with her brother James Taggart, who is the president. While he kind of just floated to the top his entire career, she actually started as a young girl working the tracks with all the normal workers. She went and got an engineering degree, and now she's basically setting it on her shoulders to keep the country moving and keep all goods and services available for everybody who's stressed and hurting. You also are introduced to a couple of other masters of industry. We follow a young Hank Reardon, a man who has created a new type of metal that's cheaper, stronger, and lighter than anything else on the market. And then there's also another chieftain of industry named Ellis Wyatt, and he has actually learned how to squeeze oil from shale, which is very ironic considering we have that today. And the author Ayn Rand prophesied this in 1957. Together, they're battling the economic depression the best they can and trying to bring their goods to market that could potentially end the depression and save the world. However, something mysterious is going on. People are starting to disappear. People like CEOs, regular manual laborers, workers. Anytime these people try to struggle to get ahead, it seems like the person who's the last piece of the puzzle just disappears. And the question to this that haunts the reader throughout the story is, who is John Galt? It's a mysterious, kind of ominous story, like there's just this thing, or this person, John Galt, is the reason for everything happening, for things crashing down. So this is a big book, so I wouldn't recommend, falling asleep with it on your face at night. You might want to put it away because it might inhibit your breathing. It's 900 plus pages, but we follow these creators, and the book also bridges a lot of interesting philosophy and questions. It is a heavy read. Is money the root of all evil? Is self-sacrifice a virtue, or is it a non-virtue, like a sin? To what point are we beholden to our brothers? Like I said, very philosophic book. It's Ayn Rand's magnum opus. Many people have been introduced to one of her previous books, The Fountainhead. This came after The Fountainhead, but it's one of those books that's really hard to put down once you start reading it, and I couldn't recommend it more highly. It's a very interesting read, and seeing as how we are, as I'm looking out the window right now, I'm seeing rain and snow flurries. We're all going to be shut in this fall and this winter, so what better time than to sit down with a big heavy book and get some reading done. This is available at the Nampa Public Library for checkout, or it's also available at many other libraries throughout the consortium. So yeah, I recommend coming to check that out. The next book I'm going to advertise here is a book called, go figure, I'm blanking right now. It's one of my favorite books too, that's funny. It's called Legends of the Fall by Jim Harrison. Now the significant thing about this book, even though I don't have a copy of the movie with me too, I highly recommend if you're going to read this book to watch the movie as well. We have that available at the Nampa Public Library as well. It's a pretty quick read. It's a short novella. It's about 90-some pages. You could probably smash it out in about 2 days. But this movie and book take place in the early 1900s. It follows the plight of a family in Choteau, Montana, and they're a ranching family. And it's three brothers and a father, Colonel William Ludlow, the father, and brothers Samuel and Tristan and Alfred Ludlow. This book watches this family go through much strife. They have family fights. The family has difficulty with people that enter in the family through marriages. You see the brothers go off to World War I. They end up having to all deal with an economic depression, and they also have to weather the storm of life through things like prohibition. It's a really excellent book as far as it's a real Americana tale of a family struggling to make it and to find out what's really important for them. Jim Harrison, even though he's no longer with us, is probably, in my personal opinion, one of the greatest American authors that not many people know about and very underappreciated. But I couldn't more highly recommend this book. It's, you pick up, you read it, you put it down. It's just one of those ones that you're going to go all the way through. And like I said before, the movie really complements the book, and the book complements the movie very well. You're not going to get a bitter taste in your mouth when you read this and then watch the movie, or vice versa. They don't ruin each other. But yeah, it's a very, very good book. I couldn't recommend it more highly. I don't believe this one is at Nampa Public Library, but it's very easy to access it through our consortium. You could just put it on hold, and any of the libraries that work with us will send it here. That's what I have for today, and next up we're going to have Asia, and she's going to have a TV series that she's going to advertise for you.
Hello again. I have a TV series that I'd like to recommend to our adults. It's called Victoria. Right now there are currently 3 seasons, and I believe that they are working on a 4th. It's a historical drama, so if you have anyone at home, I know particularly for me and my spouse, I love time period pieces and anything that's related to history, My spouse also enjoys history and politics, so this was the best of both worlds for both of us. We enjoy this, and we're looking forward to the next season that will be coming out. It follows Queen Victoria, who came to the throne in 1837. This first series, I believe, just follows the first few years of her reign and marriage, and I believe the first few of her children. So it was kind of cool to watch it because there are events that have taken place that were mentioned here. There were also small details like seeing the palace transition from using candles to electricity and indoor plumbing introduced in some of the palaces. So if you are interested in history, politics, or just like time period pieces, I recommend this TV series.
Today I'm going to be showing you some of the other ways in which you can approach the wonderful items that we have here at the library. I have included obviously audiobooks, and I have found that with audiobooks sometimes I know that when reading The Red Tent, which was very good, I read it, but I did not and could not bring the richness of the spoken language, the way words are said, the names, the way they are said. Was so much better while listening versus trying to read the book myself. So there are times when that's the better way to go, and also sometimes when you're driving, it's just nice to just sit back and relax and have someone read to you, which is always a treat. To begin, I enjoy historical fiction, and this is called The Tattooist of Auschwitz. These three items all deal with World War II and how it impacted different people in different ways. The fellow, the tattooist in this story, Lane Slova, is from Slovakia, and they learned quickly that he could speak many languages, and for that reason they made him the tattooist. And his job was incredibly difficult, but he was able to make it better for those people as they entered, and was able to help them get through the days in various ways, which you will have to read in order to find out. While he's in there, he meets a wonderful woman named Gita, and they go through all the things that we know happened. But the lovely thing for me is that the story is actually written by Heather Morris, who actually visited and spoke with Lael, and you can see a picture of them through time. So all that they endured, they were able to come through and survive. The women were facing different situations. In fact, there was various positions and jobs that you learn about that you may not be aware of. One of the women that Gita worked with was Silka, and so this chases the tattooist. Silka was just 16 years old when she was taken to Auschwitz-Birkenau, and she had a different job from what some of the other women did, and she's falsely accused of some things that even add more difficulty into her life. You'd think that life would give her a break, and in the end she does get it, but it's a very moving recollection with a historical fiction, so you're also learning things that actually did happen while reading a lovely novel. This is another one, and I have two of her books here. The Nightingale, which was a New York Times bestseller. It deals with a family in France and two sisters during Nazi-occupied France. And it tells the story, one of the sisters works with the resistance, and the other sister is trying to maintain the family and keep them together in a different way. So it again is very moving, and for me to listen to it, because it brought the book more to life, because I do not do French at all, but to hear it spoken was lovely, just absolutely lovely. This is one that takes place in 1974, and it also is written by Kristen Hanna. This is a story of how hard it is to live in Alaska. A man who you will learn, I won't tell you, takes his family to Alaska into the just the outskirts. People are living in tar paper wrapped buildings, and it talks about the hunting and the harvesting that they do, and it goes through things that you just can't imagine could, but again, this did happen. There was someone out there, and this author was able to do the research and actually get to know them through different venues, be it through documentation or actual interviewing, which is what happened with the Tattooist. So there are different ways that they are able to put these books together. It is exciting, and you struggle with them, and at the end you go yahoo. So it's one that I would certainly recommend to you. Again, all of these are available here in our library. We are part of a wonderful consortium, so we have access to many, many libraries. Place a hold, we'll let you know it's here. You come in and get it and enjoy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching our book talks in celebration of Idaho Family Reading Week. Just to kind of wrap things up, if you are aware or not aware that we are open for browsing 4 hours each day, Monday through Saturday, excuse me. This Friday we are opening at 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. So feel free to come in and check out our selection at that time. Before that, we do have a phone line that you can call to make holds on books or ask reference questions or anything that you might be curious about. And you can call us at 208-468-4474 to reach someone there. And we can help you the best we can. And of course, we also have our curbside services to pick up holds back with Circulation off on 3rd Street. And yeah, we would love to have you guys come in today. Check out the activity bags, the adventure bags that we have for Legend of Zelda and the book Blackout. And check out our digital escape room, which will be going up as a link on Facebook and our website. We will also have it posted on a poster here so that you can check it out there. It should be at nampalibrary.org/escape. Thank you guys so much, and we hope to see you here.